executive has to have knowledge. Then he has to turn that knowledge into action. That action, then you need buy-in, because no executive can do anything by himself or herself. And that's what produces results. Now, according to Peter Drucker was a famous management guru. And he wrote an excellent book titled The Effective Executive. And in it, based on his research, he said there are 8 practices that he has found that make an executive effective. The first 2 questions that executives ask are, what needs to be done? And the second question is, what's right for the enterprise? Now, if you're a president of the United States, you would say, what's right for the country, right? So one of the examples he gives in the book was Harry Truman. After he became president, he wanted to continue FDR's economic and social policies. But when he asked the question, what needs to be done, war had to be won, and then peace had to be sustained. So by doing that, he became one of the most successful foreign policy president. So he asked the right question. And similarly, individually, or if you're working for a company, that's where it all starts from. That gives you the knowledge. So now you've got the knowledge, now you've got to turn that into action. That means you've got to have an action plan to start with. You're not going to be wedded to the action plan because things can change. And as an executive, you have to make a decision whether you stay the course or you have to make some changes. And that's what an executive has to do. You're responsible for making that decision and then responsible for communicating to the rest of the team. And then on the business side, an executive has a bias towards opportunities, not problems. Not that you ignore problems, but problems prevents damage. It doesn't produce, opportunities produce results. So it's very important that an executive is always talking about growth opportunities. Like if you're interviewing, that's what you want to focus about, because if you get hung up on problems, then you're not coming across like an executive. That's not how executives think. For example, when I have a problem with Amazon, on the other end of the line is not Jeff Bezos answering my phone call. He's focusing on he makes 3 decisions in a day, which industry he wants to take over. That's what he's focusing on. And that's what I want him to focus on, being a shareholder. So once you have the action plan, then you have to get the buy-in, right? This all makes sense. You're already probably doing all of this. And that means one of the tools that an executive has is how to be productive in running meetings. Because meetings, as you all know, can waste a lot of time, okay? And then the last one is executive has to create a team atmosphere, because no executive can do anything by himself or herself. So it's very important that he has people that feel like they belong to something that is worthwhile, they want to work hard and produce. And the last thing that he put down, that this is more like a rule, is that executives are usually very good listeners. And they have to be, because if they're not listening to all different points, how can they possibly make the right decision? And they tend to speak last. Okay? So again, to summarize this, executives will try to gain the knowledge by asking those 2 questions, create an action plan, get the buy-in, that produces results. There's no guarantee this will always work, but not doing it will certainly lead to failure.